Hello and welcome in. Week 12
Stop
of
the music.
NFL
Stop
season,
the
which
intro.
sets an all-time record.
Hello, everyone. This is Carl from the 3-Man Rush podcast. As you can see, if you're watching on YouTube, or hear my lovely voice if you're listening on podcast platforms. We recorded this episode prior to the Thanksgiving. We recorded this podcast prior to the Thanksgiving Day games earlier in the week. It was a longer episode because there were so many games. So we decided to cut it into 2 separate episodes. So if you haven't heard the Thanksgiving Day games, even though they've already been played, feel free to go back at the last episode. This is going to jump right into the rest of the Week 12 games. It may sound different in some parts just because we, again, reference some things that may have happened earlier. If you want to hear the weekly recap or the Dollar Bill Island recap from last week, feel free again to jump over to the beginning part of that last podcast. But we hope you enjoy, and let's just jump right in.
All right, let's move on. Not a lot of great games after Thanksgiving this week. I'm calling it games of the week, and I put 2 in here, but I don't really feel great about it. It's the Cincinnati Bengals, favored by 1.5 points, headed to Tennessee to take on the Titans. Total here is 42.5 points. Tommy, I will kick it right over to you to begin. What do we make of this game?
Yeah, I was just looking at this thinking, I have no idea. This is easily a stay away game for me in real life. There's no way I would ever put money on this because it's a really tight line. I do like the way the Bengals have been playing recently. The Joe Mixon injury makes it a little bit cloudier. But I think overall, I think the Bengals are a better team. So in what is essentially a pick 'em, I will take the Bengals this week, although I'm not confident about it. I could easily see the Titans winning at home.
I feel the exact same way, and honestly, I think the Bengals are a better team. But because it's in Tennessee, my spreadsheet has me leaning towards the Titans here. So I'm going to take the Titans, not to be different from you, but that's just what I'm calculating here. But again, that being said, I have the Bengals as a slightly better team. It's just one of those things where home field advantage is sending it the other direction. So I think that also is concerning. I think you are going to be on the right side of this. So if you're listening to this and you want to pick a side, I would pick Tommy's side, but I can't go against my numbers. So
I thought it would be Bengals by 2.5. It was Bengals by 2. It's down to Bengals by 1.5. All moving in my favor. At least if I'm going to lay points, right? Those are better numbers to lay. Not sure if it's in my favor because everyone else is taking the Titans and the points. But I'm going to take the Bengals. I mean, this is like a pick 'em kind of a game. I don't think I'm going to bet the push on this one. That's not going to happen.
With the half point, yeah, I hope you wouldn't bet a push.
Right. That would be one of my worst decisions of all time. But I am going to go with the Bengals. I don't really have a lot else to say about this one. Look, Titans 8-2, best record in the NFL against the spread, and Bengals are not. But I think this is the kind of game that the Bengals have to win if they're going to grab a playoff spot, which right now they do not have. They have to do that. So that's not a good reason to bet them. But if they're only laying 1.5, and I think these teams are fairly even, I'll take that chance. I would not be shocked to see the Titans win this game. By more than the 1.5 points that they're getting. I think they could win very easily. You pick a number, and I would believe you if you told me the Titans won by that much. The Bengals are very Jekyll and Hyde for me this season. I think all of us probably. But for now, I'm going to run with the Bengals, and we'll call it that. I think it's going to be a competitive game. I hope it's not a blowout. That's all I'll say. I think it should be interesting. I hope it's a competitive game because we don't have much else to watch on Sunday if it's not. Speaking of not much to watch, the LA Chargers, number 2 in the league against the spread, are favored by 4.5 points when they head to Arizona to take on the Cardinals. Total here is 47.5 points. It'll at least have been a week, Tommy, since Call of Duty came out, but still no word on whether or not Kyler Murray is going to play. I was going to tell you, if we had happened to go live Monday night, I almost was going to swap my pick from the 49ers over to the Cardinals because we knew that Colt McCoy was playing. I'm glad I didn't do that. Worked out in my favor with the 49ers. So it's not like Colt McCoy is some world beater that is drastically changing the Cardinals when they play another good team. The question is, are the Chargers a good enough team for that to not matter against? Or can Colt McCoy carry the Cardinals? Or is it even going to be him? Is it going to be Kyler Murray? I don't think we know. I was thinking about this a lot today, just as a quick aside, and I almost think that we should make two picks sometimes when it's like a serious player, like a quarterback that is questionable when we record on Tuesday nights. Like we should have like a if he plays pick and an if he doesn't play pick. We're not going to do it this week, but we're throwing that one to the committee to think about as well for future reference. But for now, what the hell is going to happen? You can lead us off.
Well, I was going to say they even gave a couple snaps at the end of Monday's game to what was it, Trace McSorley? Is that who they drafted this year? That sounds like a made up person, but I swear to God, I'm pretty sure that he's their third string quarterback.
Yeah, that's the name. Yeah.
So whether it's Kyler, whoever, regardless of who's under center, in his tenure as Cardinals head coach, from week 8 to week 17, Cliff Kingsbury has like a 243 win percentage, which is
they're bad.
Insanity. The fact that this is like it's a 30-year pattern now of just like absolutely terrible football for more than the second half of the year. And the Chargers are fighting for a playoff spot. They're fighting with the Patriots and Bengals for that last spot. They're getting healthier week by week. I think that this is a prime spot. I really like the line of 4.5 for the Chargers. I think that they could win by a lot more than that. So I'm going to take the Chargers here. I think that there needs to be more rumblings about Cliff Kingsbury's job security.
Yeah, just because Pat brought it up earlier, I just feel like, I've been looking at it ever since he brought it up, that team's ranking that we referenced. The Chargers are 7-3 against the spread, but their margin of victory is negative 3.1, and they're actually against the spread minus 4.2. Not that that's saying anything really good about the Cardinals, because I'd rather not read those for selective statistic reasons, but I'm going to take the Cardinals here with the points. I don't feel good about it. I did not feel good about taking the Cardinals on Monday night. And just watching the highlights again this morning, it was just like they had a little glimmer of hope, and then it was just like bad pass, bad plays, letting receivers run wide open. So I mean, I don't feel confident about it, especially after watching the Chargers play the night before. But I'm just gonna, pick it and stick it. Cardinals covering the points.
I thought this could be higher. I thought it would be Chargers by 4.5. It opened at Chargers by 2.5, and it is already back up to Chargers by 4.5. So I was very excited and was hopeful that I would get a smaller number to lay. But alas, we were at 4.5. That's where I thought it would be. It's where I think it should be. So I feel pretty confident in this one, which just means I'm going to lose. But I'm going to go with the Chargers. I'll lay the 4.5 points. I wish I believed in Kyler Murray or the Cardinals. I like them. I would like them to be good. But Tommy, you called it. They're just not a second half team. And we are in the second half of the season. So Chargers it is. And we'll see if they can start making a push toward the playoffs. They certainly need it after they lose in week 11 and the Patriots and Bengals both pull out a win really in the fourth quarter. Close games. Both of them could have been losses, and they both pulled away there. Patriots a little bit later, of course. So Chargers, they need this one. Again, that seems to be my betting logic this week. They need it, so they'll cover, which is really when I have such a bad week. But I'm taking the Chargers.
Yeah. Well, what's crazy for me, and again, I mean, my spreadsheet spits out the numbers, but I have the Chargers slowly declining from where I started them in the season. I had them at 7th or something to start. They're now down to 16th in my power rankings, my personal power rankings. And the Cardinals started at 18, and they're all the way down to 29, which is third worst in the league, fourth worst. So it's bad. So they're a bad team. I don't feel good about it. But again, I just have them slightly covering the spread, so I got to stick with it.
When you factor in the sheer amount of injuries the Chargers have had, and that, like I said, they're slowly getting healthier and healthier. I think you're gonna start to see that preseason hype creep up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Health is an enigma for the Chargers, but we'll see if they can find it. For now, we're gonna move on to the Atlanta Falcons. We're headed to Washington to take on the Commanders, who are favored by 4 points. Total here is 42 overall. I feel like it's only right for me to lead off and talk about my man, Taylor Heineke, the guy, the legend, the green lizard himself, Taylor Heineke. I thought they should be Commanders by 2.5. It opened at Commanders by 3. I never like giving more points when I don't have to. But the Falcons, we said it at the top, 1-4 against the spread since I started betting on them. They started 6-0. They're now 7-4 against the spread this season. And Taylor Heineke has won, 4 out of 5 or 5 out of 6. Ron Rivera said this week they're sticking with Taylor Heineke over Carson Wentz when he is ready to return from injury, which it sounds is imminent. So I don't listen. It's just I've said it the whole time. This is a different team with a different confidence. Heineke's not anything to write home about, but he doesn't make a ton of mistakes either. And I think the guys like him. I think he's a leader of men. And you don't have to put up gaudy numbers to be that. But Carson Wentz certainly is not. So as long as it's Heineke, I'm going to ride with my Commanders here. I will lay the 4 points. Wish it was a little bit lower. Of course, that means the Falcons will finally put their shit together and beat me this week. But for now, Commanders -4, put it in the books.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I was all about the flying Heinekes this week. I think Arthur Smith caught wind of the Falcons being 6-0, and it was like, whoa, that's not what I'm all about. I'm not about winning at all, even if it's not on the scoreboard. I'm not about winning on the spreadsheet either. Let's do a little bit better to even that out, and I think that's going to continue this week. I'm going with the Commanders. Ron Rivera made the right choice not going back to Carson Wentz, because even if it's just that the guys play for him, the other thing is that he unlocks Terry McLaurin, who is their best offensive player. And so if Heineke is the guy you keep in there to keep McLaurin going, then you got to stick with it. And Rivera made the right choice, in my opinion. So give me the Commanders here.
Has anybody told the Falcons that they don't get an extra draft pick by losing against the spread as well? Because when you said that, Tommy, it really got me thinking. I don't know if they know.
I mean, even if they did, they would just spend it on another player that Marcus Mariota can't throw the ball to.
What was the stat that you gave us this week? It doesn't matter now because Kyle Pitts is going to IR, but give us the stat anyway because it is remarkable.
He has the longest wingspan out of any receiver / tight end drafted
Kyle Pitts.
Since the merger. And someone has been able to make a montage through 7 games this year of Marcus Mariota barely throwing it just outside the radius of Kyle Pitts, who, once again, the largest catch radius ever recorded, and Marcus Mariota can't hit that target.
If you can find that clip, we'll put it in right now. You can send it to me.
Okay, let me go look for it.
Carl, while you tell us who wins, I'm going to pull up the exact numbers that you sent us, Tommy, because they were the percentage was crazy. But Carl, Commanders, Falcons, who are you taking?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Falcons. I actually think this is probably one of our push potentials because it's an even spread of 4. I have it projected at 3.54.
Push potential. Are you gonna bet the push? Sorry, I wasn't listening. Just registered in my brain. Are you gonna bet the push?
I'm not betting the push, but I would consider it. I think I have the spread at 3.5. So if it was 3.54, so if it was legitimately 3.5, I'd be on the Commanders, but it's 4. So I have to be on the Falcons. I think though the smartest bet for me personally, which again, I probably won't do this unless I, have a really good Thanksgiving day of bets. Probably taking the Commanders to win this game by 1-6 would be a smart idea. Kind of locking it in that range because they could technically win again 1-6, but you don't have to worry about the spread if they win. you are locking yourself into a certain scoring range. So if they lose outright, obviously you lose, but you wouldn't have covered the spread anyway. And if they win by more than 6, you're not winning that bet. But you get way better odds. It's usually like plus, when you pick it specifically, it's plus like, I don't know, 250, 300, 350, depends on like what the actual line is. So you can get more value out of that way. It's a fun way for you to like bet the game and not necessarily have to worry about the spread if you're worried that it's going to fall under that 4 points, if you think it's going to be that, or if you think it's going to be close to the 4 but less than a touchdown. Again, you got that little wiggle room on 1 to 6. So
it does feel like it's going to be one of those close games. Comes like maybe a last second drive, and Heineke pulls ahead with, maybe they get a field goal, maybe he gets a touchdown, depending on the score and the field. Right, you could maybe with that touchdown you pull ahead by 3 or you pull ahead by 4. I can totally see it happening. And then within a couple points of the total at 42, I do feel like that's the kind of game it's going to be. That's the game that you play with this Washington team and with Taylor Heineke at quarterback. So I wouldn't be shocked to see you cover here, but Heineke's my guy. I can't go away from that. Tommy, that stat that you sent us, you sent in the text chain. So for context, the average quarterback throws 15% of their passes off target. The quarterback with the worst rate of those in the NFL is Davis Mills, who is at 22.3% of his passes off target. When Marcus Mariota throws to Kyle Pitts, he is 26% off target throws. Literally more than a quarter of the time that he throws to Kyle Pitts, he is off target, and he has the widest, longest, largest wingspan ever recorded for a receiver / tight end at the combine in NFL history. It is unbelievable how bad he is when he throws to them. So
that's insane. I don't know why Desmond Ridder hasn't started playing yet. It makes no sense.
He's got to be really bad if he can't beat out Marcus Mariota, or the coaching staff is dumb.
Arthur Smith is like, yeah, give me all the losses possible.
Exactly. All right, let's move on, where the Houston Texans head to Miami to take on the Dolphins. This is, I think, our biggest spread of the week, a whopping 13.5, almost 2 touchdown spread, 13.5 points. The Dolphins are favored by. Total here is 46.5 points. Carl, why don't you lead us off and tell us what's going to happen in this one? Huge number.
Miami's coming off a bye. Houston is literally the worst team in the league. So I'm gonna take Miami here and lay all those points. It did not work out for me when I took the Ravens and all those points. They didn't even score enough in the game to cover their spread. But I'm gonna take Miami here. I think Miami's got a really good offense coming off some rest. I'm sure they're gonna try some things against this team as a little bit of a practice run, maybe not to try and put a lot of stuff on film, but I'm sure they put a lot of stuff in over the bye week, and they might mix in some things this week to get ready for that division run that every team is pretty much going to have towards the end of the season. So they'll take care of business here, and I think it should be a blowout.
Wow. Before I get to my pick, I'm going to say you guys should hammer the over here at the 46.5. Because as you just said in your stat about Mariota, Davis Mills has been awful this year with his accuracy, and it shows in there. They only have 159 points scored. They also have 230 points against the Texans do, which isn't great. It's good for 7th worst in the Eastern Conference, or the Eastern Conference, the AFC. Sorry, got hockey.
NBA pod coming this February.
Do you know who is 5th worst in terms of points against in the AFC? Yeah, it would be your division leading Miami Dolphins had 241 points against.
Context clues should have brought me there a little bit quicker than that awkward silence. I apologize.
They're also worst in their own division, but regardless, these are two. I thought Miami had a good defense, but the numbers say otherwise, or at least that one number. So I'll definitely take the over there. This is a really large spread, so I'm going to take the Texans to cover it. I don't think that they're going to win again. But I just think that with these, this is going to be a shootout game, and I don't think it's going to get to a 2 touchdown difference at any point, because I think both teams are just going to score. This is probably the game that's going to make me look most stupid, but I'm going to take the Texans here to cover.
I don't think it's stupid. So here's what I'll tell you. Texans have a very underrated pass defense. I'm trying to find the numbers. I meant to look them up before this and completely forgot. So if anybody else has DVOA numbers for the Texans passing defense, please shoot them my way. But just
I have them.
Okay, give it to me for a minute.
Okay. Houston's pass defense, because you asked so nicely. 25th pass DVOA. Would you like another rush DVOA? Not helpful either. 31 bottom.
Okay, so here's what I'll tell you then. Okay, so these numbers aren't helping me. When you
not at all.
If you look at fantasy football and you go in, friend Tommy cannot stop laughing at me, which is completely fair. It wasn't DVOA that I'm thinking of. Well, I figured DVOA would back me up, and that was a dumb assumption. If you go into fantasy football, if you're a Yahoo fantasy football player and you look at when a positional player has a matchup, wide receivers when they're playing Houston, as of like a week ago, it could have changed. I haven't looked. 32nd. So wide receivers score the fewest points in fantasy football against the Houston Texans, which in my head told me that they would have a good pass defense. Clearly, DVOA disagrees with me.
It's because they're getting blown out so often that teams are running against them.
Probably. Okay. All right. Yeah, fair enough. Context clues. So this is why, listen, narratives over numbers or stats over storylines. Pick a day. This way, today, stats aren't in my favor. Okay. The thing that the Dolphins do best is throw the football. The thing that the Texans, who are really bad, do best is defend the throw. Okay. I'm off the rails. My whole logic is fucked up here. I'm taking the Dolphins. I was going to say, I think it's going to be like a running game, which means it should be a lower scoring game. But I do think Miami could just get up by 2 or 3 touchdowns pretty early, hold tight on defense, and then just run the ball the rest of the game. And listen, we had, what is it, Jeff Wilson now and Raheem Mostert both have really fantastic days before the bye. I wouldn't be shocked to see that happen again. So they don't just have to throw the ball to win. I think they can run the ball to run out the clock and wind up scoring even more points. So 13.5 is a huge number. I don't like it, but I'm willing to lay those points because I think the Dolphins are coming into their own. I think that defense is only going to get better. I think having a bye week to rest, to reset, to study the playbook. Again, like a Bradley Chubb is going to help that secondary if he can set the edge, if he can get pressure on the quarterback and really just cause some errors when they're rushing the passer. So I don't know. I'm making up narrative to fit what I want it to be here. And clearly my numbers were completely off. But I am willing to lay those 13.5 points because Houston is, as you said, quite literally the worst team in football. And Miami is pretty good, except for when they're not. So 13.5. I don't love it. Tommy, you'll probably look really smart because 13.5 is a huge number for us to try to cover.
I think as soon as I took my hand off the chest piece on that one, I regretted it. So we'll see how smart I look.
Fair enough. For now, we will stay in Florida. No, we won't. It's a Florida team, but we're headed to Cleveland because that's where the Tampa Bay Buccaneers are going when they take on the Browns this weekend. Bucks are favored by 3 on the road. Also, coming off a bye week. Total is 43.5 points. I don't really have a good reason for this, but I'm happy to lead us off. I just think the Browns stink, and I want to see Brady after a bye with a little bit of momentum. I just think it's a small enough number that I feel good about the Bucks winning by 3, which means I'm going to lose because the Browns can just control the pace. They can run the ball. Tampa's defense has been mediocre. I'm talking myself out of this already, but I just want to believe in Tom Brady. God damn it. So that's what I'm going to do. Bucks by 3.
So it's like your whole strategy this week is to say the narrative of both teams so that either way you sound like you even if you made the wrong choice, you had like the right thought process. Was that what you're doing?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because I'm going to take the Browns here because I think I think their running game is top tier. And
I
think-
get it. I keep talking myself out of it. I'm like, this is what I'm gonna do, and then as I say it, the reason not to do it comes out of my mouth, and I'm like, shoot. So sorry, continue.
Good catch, good catch. But yeah, I'm gonna take the Browns, even though I do like Brady and the Bucks coming off a bye. I actually think that this is the game that they try to unleash Rashad White a little bit more, as they transition away from Leonard Fournette in the backfield. So I would look at his prop numbers for rushing either attempts and or yards, depending on what those turn out to be. But still, I'll take the Browns +3 at home. Yeah, Amari Cooper's having a good year. I think that they just continue doing that in the run game.
Yeah, Bucks are one of my teams that fell out of like the top 5 in my power rankings. So started off the season at 3, they're down to 8. They've been on decline. Obviously, they turned it around a little bit going back to that Rams game, but that was a close game. We saw how bad the Rams are. So then they got to go play in Germany. So I'm going to take the Browns also with Tommy. I've had them consistently right around like 15, middle of the league. I don't love it, but they're a home dog. So sometimes you gotta let those dogs bark, man. Woo, woo.
Shout out the dog pound.
Listen, give me Tom Brady on an island any freaking day of the week. That's all I'm gonna say.
That always works out well for you when you get your star quarterbacks on an island, doesn't it?
Yeah, yep, really well this season. I wish we had like a diehard fan that like tracked more stats and records for us than we do, because that would be a great thing to ask Stat Nerd to look up, but we don't have one. So for now, we're gonna move on because it's the Baltimore Ravens laying only 4 points, headed to Jacksonville to take on the Jaguars. Total here is 43.5 points. Let me just tell you, last week I thought the Ravens were going to be favored by like 5.5, 6 points. Ugly game against the Panthers, and they were favored by 12, which I took the Panthers on that island because I do not believe in the Ravens. This week I said, well, okay, well, the Ravens, if they were favored by 12 last week against the Panthers, I mean, I guess they couldn't cover it, but it's the Jaguars, right? We're going to be Ravens by 8.5 or something, right? It's Ravens by 4. So this actually falls in line with where I think they are. So I don't even care. I'll go first. I'll tell you, I'm going to take the Ravens in this one. Only laying 4 points against a bad team. I already told you the Jaguars are 3-7 against the spread this season. I don't really love the Ravens. I don't like Lamar Jackson, but this is a really, really low number. Max Kellerman was yelling on ESPN on Friday when I was getting my hair cut about how he still thinks that the Ravens are going to win the Super Bowl. And I just don't understand how anybody that gets paid money to talk about football could be saying that at this point. I don't know. Do you guys who don't get paid money to talk about football agree with that? Agree with the, like, are you taking the Ravens this week? I don't even know. I don't know what to make of the Ravens. It's a different conversation, but I was shocked when I heard that. Like, do people really like the Ravens?
I think that it's smart to just not listen to the guy who said Tom Brady fell off a cliff like 7 years ago.
That's
so, yeah, I do like your logic, though. I think Vegas just was able to course correct themselves a lot quicker than earlier this year when I think the Packers and Bucks were like 10-point favorites for like 3 weeks in a row and lost. They had like a 1-5 record in those games or something like that.
Yep.
So Vegas probably learned from that really quickly. I'll change course on the Ravens. I agree with you. I think this is more in line of where it should be. I'm going to side with you right now. I'm going to take the Ravens. So Carl gets a home dog on his own, possibly. But yeah, I just think that like Gus Edwards did not come back last week. He might come back this week. If so, then my logic of the Ravens rushing attack with their 2 tight end sets could flourish. But they just need to get healthy.
Yeah, same side as you guys. I got like Ravens by 6, so cover that spread. I do think the line's a little bit. I think the line's a little bit lower though, due to an overreaction from how poorly they played against Carolina. So
definitely an overreaction. This line should be higher. So I call it a gift from the gambling gods.
Yeah, definitely hammer it.
Once in a while, Vegas likes to give you an easy one just so that you feel good, and then you come back, you spend more money, and they just take all of it.
Yeah,
this is that game. I think that's what it has written for me. That or I'm just like a sucker, or both. All right, the Chicago Bears are headed to New York to take on the Jets. I'm sorry, they're headed to New Jersey to take on the Jets because the Jets don't deserve that New York title anymore. And yet they're favored by 4.5 points in this one. Total is 39.5. There's a lot of quarterback questions in this one. Okay, Justin Fields finished the game last week, almost won, wound up with a push with a separated left shoulder. That's not his throwing shoulder. Played through it anyway. Something tells me that injury is not going to get better this week and probably is going to hurt a lot more without the adrenaline of an NFL game, coursing through your blood. So we'll see if Justin Fields can play. My apologies. But then for the Jets, Robert Saleh has flat out called out Zach Wilson. I told you guys before we started recording, I saw a tweet earlier today that was like, imagine being an NFL quarterback and your biggest flex this season through 12 weeks is that you bagged your mom's friend. Tough world. Tough time to be Zach Wilson. Not a friend of the pod. It's not Patriots Jets week anymore. We're done that for this season. But I don't think Zach Wilson can be a friend of the pod as it currently stands. So I guess this 4.5 line reflects the pending quarterback change that we expect to happen, plus Justin Fields maybe not playing, some kind of combination of that. Otherwise, I don't really know why the Jets would be favored by 4.5 points. Great defense, but I think, and the Bears are not covering. There's a lot here. Okay, like I think we all like what we're seeing from the Bears. They're just not winning, but they're getting close. But they're also not covering. So I don't know. Am I crazy to think that this line is out of whack and is just assuming that we're going to have a quarterback change and maybe no Justin Fields? Somebody tell me if I'm crazy or if this feels like an appropriate line for this game, because I didn't think so.
So are you saying that you think there's going to be a quarterback change for the Jets or to replace Justin Fields with his injury?
Possibly both, but I think this line, I think that's what this line reflects. I think the Jets will be better with anyone who isn't Zach Wilson, whether it's Joe Flacco or Mike White, and the Bears might not have Justin Fields. I don't even know who their backup is. Candidly, I'd have to look it up. Okay, so are they going to be better with Trevor Siemian? Probably not. So that's what I think the line reflects.
Yeah. I don't think the Jets should make a quarterback change. I think it's just a Zach Wilson versus the Patriots thing. And last time they played the Patriots, which was just a couple of weeks ago, they had Buffalo the very next week, and they took care of business versus Buffalo, who was the best team in the league. So I see a bounce back game. I think the Jets are, again, they just can't beat the Patriots. The Patriots just have their number, and they have for the last 7 years. The last time the Jets beat the Patriots was the infamous Matthew Slater winning a coin toss and then giving the Jets the ball in overtime. So that's the last time the Jets won, which was a long time ago versus the Patriots. So again, that's last week. We're on to this week. I think the Jets take care of business regardless of the quarterback situation for the Bears. I think obviously if you're a Bears fan or you're looking at the Bears, you hope that you have a spread that you can take with Justin Fields in there. But again, if you're looking at the Jets, I think you should take it at 4.5 before the line changes in the opposite direction. Because I don't think Justin Fields is not going to play. And he's better with his legs anyway than he is with his arm. So
I was gonna say the same thing. It's a dislocated shoulder, a non-throwing shoulder, and you can still tuck the ball and run. As that's recovering. I completely agree with you on it. Just seems to be a Patriots thing that the Jets have going against them right now. And they've been outside of Patriots games, they've been a very good team and a very really good defense. And I expect that to continue. I think it'll be a low scoring game, but I think the Jets have enough to cover here at 4.5. So I'm gonna ride with New York as well.
I don't know what to do. This is if there wasn't a hook, we'd be talking about betting the push. I believed in the Jets defense all season, and it would be a silly time for me to stop. I really hate 4.5 points. But I guess I'll go down with the ship with you guys or take the dub. We'll go Jets minus 4.5. I don't really feel good about it. Yeah, we'll see who plays for both teams, both quarterbacks. No idea. All right, let's move on. The Denver Broncos are favored by 2.5 points when they head to Carolina to take on the Panthers. Fun little stat here. If the Broncos had just scored 18 points in regulation in every game this season, only 18, that's like below average. It's really mediocre. They would be 9-1. Instead, they suck. So, Carl, I'm going to let you talk about your favorite team, the Denver Broncos, and see who you're going to take this week.
You know, when you asked at the beginning, like, who are you most thankful for? I think I am like the least thankful for the Denver Broncos. I keep picking them. They keep letting me down. Like you said, their defense plays really well. So it's like affecting my rankings because if they could just put points on the board, like it almost in most games, it's a matter of like one possession. Like just put a touchdown on the board in one time, or even like put 2 field goals together. And like they're winning more of their games than they're losing. So I don't know. They've dropped from my power rankings from 11 all the way down to 22. It's just been a steady drop. And yet somehow they're still ranked way better than the Panthers because the Panthers are ranked second last, only the Houston Texans. So I'm going with the Broncos here. They win this game by 3 because they don't have the ability to win the game by anything else. There's no blowouts in the Broncos' future or history in this season. So give me Broncos by exactly 3. Put it in the books. They're covering the spread. We're going home with it.
Yeah, I was wondering if Vegas had gotten a hold of that stat you just pulled out, Pat, because if let's say the Broncos score 18 and win, that would match the line of 35 that they set for this game, which is I don't know if we've had a line this low, a game line this low ever since we've done the podcast. But like 35 is low.
It's very, very low.
But I think it's accurate, and I'm with Carl here. I think the Broncos are going to win. I think at some point, I think this will be the game that like the Panthers will go on like a potential game-winning drive, and Baker Mayfield will just like poop all over himself on the field, as he usually does in those situations. It is interesting that the Broncos just released Melvin Gordon, and he cleared waivers, so I think that makes him a free agent. I'm not sure if NFL waivers work that way. But like that's like their top 2 running backs just off due to injury and getting cut just off the roster, and it just adds to the turmoil that's going on in Denver this year. But against the Panthers, I'll take them.
Put me on an island, baby. I'm taking the Panthers.
I don't blame you.
I've gotten killed by them this year, but listen, they could put up some points when they do what they do best. They didn't really do that last week, but they still covered. And the Broncos stink. So also we get a reprieve from Baker Mayfield this week because Sam Darnold is starting for the Panthers. Gets a chance to put some game film out there and prove to the Carolina front office what he's made of and whether or not he deserves a shot next season. So give me the Panthers and the points plus 2.5.
If you could see the face that I made, crowd, while Pat was telling me who the starter was, you would have seen the face of regret, because if I had known that, I would have chosen the Panthers.
That's why I didn't stop and correct you, because I had a feeling.
God damn it.
Listen, is Sam Darnold any good? No. But Baker Mayfield is not. He's bad. He's done. I think he's cooked. I think he's out of the league. So,
yeah.
All right. Let's move away from those stinky teams and go to another one because it's the Las Vegas Raiders headed to Seattle to take on the Seahawks. The Raiders are the stinky team. That's the face that Tommy's making there, not the Seahawks. Seattle's favored by 3.5 points in this one. Total is 47.5 points. Tommy, go ahead.
The face I was making was because I just noticed the line in this game, and it was an incredulous look, because I know that I just last week got on the Seahawks bandwagon of giving them respect, but to only show them this much for a Josh McDaniels Raiders team that is terrible.
Blatant disrespect.
At home, I feel like this is one of those trap lines that I want. That's just like, oh, we're gonna make it easy for people to take the Seahawks when the Raiders are gonna win because we're Vegas and we know things. But fine, I'll fall right into that trap. I'm not going to do that to Seattle. I just like I said last week, I finally gave them the respect that they were due, and I still think they deserve that. So I'm going to run with it. Screw Josh McDaniels.
Yep. What you said. Give me the Seahawks -3.5 against a bad team. Those are my boys. Geno Smith for MVP. Let's go.
Same, ditto, same boat. I think it's gonna
Wow.
be closer to a touchdown.
Sweeperoni.
I mean, how can you like the Raiders? It's just bad.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I was
I'm
gonna
glad
see
you
if I
agree.
could find the like line movement to see like when, because I thought maybe it was at 3 at one point when I was looking earlier today, and it's already at 3.5, obviously. So I think it's obviously trending in the wrong direction. If you want to take it, you better get on it now.
It opened at Seattle by 4.5. It's down to 3.5.
That's not good.
What do they know?
I never feel good. I never feel good. Vegas it gives me nightmares. The New Orleans Saints are headed to San Francisco to take on the 49ers, who are favored by 9.5 points. I thought this would be 5.5 points. Vegas really likes the Niners. All the offensive numbers since the Christian McCaffrey trade, I think, back that up. And we got a very impressive win on Monday night in Mexico for San Fran. It opened at 8.5. It's already up to 9.5. And I don't care. I'm still taking them. The Saints stink. 49ers, 9.5. I'll lay the points. I'll put them in a tease. Probably wouldn't bet that number straight out real life, but I will tease it. Tommy, you had a number about like the 49ers and their schedule the rest of the way, I think, earlier.
I did. Let me pull that up for 1 second, Carl. If you want to go over your pick, I'll have that ready.
Yeah, for sure. I'm gonna go with the. I almost said the Saints. Do not hold me to that. I'm
I
gonna go with the
started
49ers.
typing it.
Yeah, do not do that.
Learned your lesson, did you? Monday night
Yeah.
in Mexico?
Absolutely. I'm thinking the Saints are again like one of the bottom tier teams. I have them slowly declining, and I think also they're a better team with Jameis Winston. So I don't know who's actually going to play a quarterback, but I think Jameis Winston would be a better quarterback than Andy Dalton. That being said,
go ahead.
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say fun fact that was not really widely publicized. That I heard on a podcast. The whatever game it was, when did the Saints go out and win like 24-0? And we were like, who the fuck is this team?
Was it
And
when they
Is that the Colts?
probably
Oh.
the Colts like 3 weeks ago? It led to
Let me check.
the Frank Reich firing. You know who showed up in the New Orleans locker room and gave them a little pep talk before that game? None other than Sean Payton. Walked
So
in.
it was the
told them
Raiders
they were-
game I think you're thinking of.
Okay, maybe whichever game that was. Sean Payton apparently showed up in the locker room, gave them a pep talk, called out the defense, said they were sucking, they're better than they are, got the veterans fired up. They went out and they shut out their opponent, and then they turned back into a pumpkin. So I think
Yeah.
they're still a pumpkin. So 49ers.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I agree. 49ers are, I don't know, towards the top of the league. Saints are towards the bottom.
Trending
Easy
up.
peasy.
Trending up.
Yeah, so what I had sent you guys earlier was the 49ers, they hold the tiebreaker for first place in their division, the NFC West. They don't leave the Pacific time zone for the rest of the season, and 5 of their last 7 games are at home. So they are, even though it's just like they hold the tiebreaker right now, they're well in the driver's seat to win that division, which if you had listened to our second half preview pod, we told people to bet on that, even though they were in the middle of the pack at that point.
Unanimously high on the 49ers for the 3M Army. We love that.
And yeah, I'm pretty much in the same boat as you guys. It is a high spread, but I think this team is just clicking on all cylinders right now. They're going to continue to do that. They are the last team on the slate that when Carl, you mentioned the best defense was the Cowboys. I was going to argue, you could argue any of the 49ers, the Patriots, and even the Broncos. Broncos defense is right up there, but I think the 49ers take the cake as best overall defense in the NFL. Their offense is gelling at the right time. So even at 9.5, give me San Fran here.
I like it. Clean sweep there. The super stinky LA Rams head to Kansas City to take on the Chiefs, where the Chiefs are favored by, I'm sorry, like, I need my glasses. 14.5 points. Just kidding. That makes sense because the Rams are terrible. And my Chiefs, where are they, Carl? Oh, that's right. They're leading the AFC, Mister. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. So, Rams getting 14.5 points on the road in Kansas City. I don't think it matters. Total here is 44.5 points because Pat Mahomes might put up 44 on his own. Give me the Chiefs. Nothing. Listen, there is no kryptonite for me, like Pat Mahomes giving up 2 touchdowns in a spread. I am a sucker for it. I don't care. I just say like Chiefs by 1 million, and every single time I do that, they lose. So Chiefs by 999,999.
Yeah, I'm looking into it right now. This is Matt Stafford's second trip to concussion protocol in the last 3 weeks, and I don't think he's missed a game yet. So I think that he's due with how stringent the NFL is going to be monitoring these situations this season. And I was gonna go just because it's a large spread. I was gonna go with the Rams, but considering that it now looks like John Wofford is going to be under center, and there's no Cooper Kupp, I'm gonna take the Chiefs here. Like this could be like a 20 to 25 point margin of victory.
Yeah, it's not funny. I shouldn't say that, but it's almost like the concussion protocol turned into like World Cup like penalty cards where it's like, oh, you get a yellow card, you can stay, that's fine. Next game you get another yellow card, guess what? That makes a red card. You're out for the next game. You know what I mean? Like you have a concussion this week, whatever, it's not that bad. You can play. Next week, concussion, maybe you should sit out the next game.
Yep.
So I don't know. Maybe that's how they're rolling with it, unless it's like super serious. But yeah, it's not looking good for the Rams. My spreadsheet has them covering, and like I said, I have to stick with it just because it is what it is. The Rams are not good at covering the pass either. They are good against the run, but we all know the Chiefs don't really care about that. They're gonna throw the ball all over the place. So I don't really know what's going on here. Again, Rams are on the decline. Chiefs are on the way up. I'm just kind of hoping for maybe like a backdoor cover. Maybe they can. Maybe the Chiefs will bench their starters halfway through the fourth quarter, and we can get some garbage time points.
You can.
The Rams are already going to have a backup quarterback playing the whole game. They're not going to put in another backup quarterback. So.
The Rams released their starting running back today, Darrell Henderson. He gone.
What?
So, yeah,
I missed this. I'm sorry. This is news to me.
That got missed with the Melvin Gordon news.
Darrell Henderson gone. Cam Akers, who they won't play and doesn't want to be there, active. And I think it's Kyron Williams is how you say his name. I believe he's a rookie.
They do
sounds like he's going to be the guy. He's just been hurt all year. They've been waiting for him. They're going to give him a run and find out one way or another. Give the running back some run. Yeah, look. Here's what else I'll tell you. I don't know how this makes you feel, Carl. This opened as Chiefs by 10.5.
Makes me feel real good.
It's already Chiefs by 14.5. So 10.5 was too juicy for America. They hammered it, and it's gone up 4 points. I think like Vegas just adjusted it. There isn't that much. There can't be that much money on it. Although I wouldn't be shocked to see like 98% of public money on the Chiefs. So, all right, Carl taking the Rams, going down with that ship. And yet Tommy and I will probably lose this game. Drive me crazy. All right, Sunday night football. The Green Bay Packers are headed to Philadelphia to take on the Eagles, who are favored by 7 points. Total here is 46. Mine hasn't moved much. It was Eagles by 6.5. Eagles a little bit shaky the last couple weeks. Is there any cause for concern covering a 7-point spread against Aaron Rodgers?
I don't think so. You're right. The Eagles do look a little shaky, but Aaron Rodgers is probably going through some sort of withdrawal of some sort, so he might be a little bit shakier. With that in mind, I'm going to take the Eagles here, just because I'm very anti Aaron Rodgers.
There's nothing we love like shitting on Aaron Rodgers. Carl,
it's so easy.
It's too easy.
Yeah, the Eagles haven't covered the spread the last 2 weeks. They lost to Washington. They barely beat the Colts. I think this is going to be a good game, especially with it being on primetime primetime Aaron Rodgers. Although he wasn't really primetime Aaron Rodgers last Thursday. So give me the Eagles here. I'll lay the points. But again, maybe this is a push game. Who knows?
At the push?
That's up to you.
Nah, I'm taking the Eagles.
All right, so bet the Packers, everybody.
Listen, the Packers stink. I'm not like I don't think I'm going to bet the Packers for the rest of the year. I'm telling you right now, it's week 12. We have 6 more weeks of betting after this before the playoffs, which the Packers will not be in. I don't think I'm going to take them the rest of the way. Don't hold me to that.
Yeah.
but we'll find out. Eagles by 7 Sunday night. And then finally on Monday Night Football, Carl, your Pittsburgh Steelers head to Indianapolis to take on Jeff Saturday's Colts. Colts are favored by 2.5 points in this one. I'm curious what this line would be if it were in Pittsburgh, but the total is just 39 points. So as our resident Steeler fan, Carl, you want to lead us off?
Yeah, I'm going with the Steelers, baby. You know, we're going with it. Mike Tomlin is normally good as an underdog. He was an underdog this past week, and it didn't go well, but I wasn't on that side of it, so it worked out well. I'm going to take the Steelers here, and I don't know. I mean, I don't think it's anything against Jeff Saturday. He's coached really well the last couple weeks. I just think that the Steelers are going to pull it out this week, or at least
Has
cover.
he, or is Frank Reich just no longer coaching poorly?
I mean, yeah, addition by subtraction.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll find out. I'm also taking the Steelers. I assumed that the Colts would be favored, but I thought that the Steelers should be favored. So I'm going to take the points and give Tommy the opportunity for an island and see what he does with it.
This is how we ended the podcast last week. Is that I was presented an opportunity. I was probably leaning the Colts anyways because I do like the way that they're playing under Jeff Saturday. It turns out maybe Matt Ryan isn't as much of a corpse as we all thought that he was, and maybe Sam Ehlinger just kind of sucks. And Frank Reich should have known that, considering the 2+ years that he had in his system. But yeah, so I'll take the Colts. I think the Colts are a better team. I think they can win by at least a field goal in this game for sure.
All right. Well,
Big Michael Pittman game. Watch out for Michael Pittman.
Would love that for my fantasy team.
Game. All right. Well, that'll do it for our picks around the NFL. That is all 16 games. It's been a while since we've had 16 games, guys. That was heavy. I think looking forward to having this every week in a couple weeks once we get through the remainder of the buys. But for now we've made our way around the NFL, that means it is time to recap our best bets and give you our best bets of the week. So show me the money, people. Let's go. Last week, week 11 of the NFL season. Not great in best bets land, unless you're Carl. I took the Giants, favored by just 3 points against the lowly Lions. That was a big fat L. Tommy pushed with the Bears +3, but as we've covered previously, it only matters if you win when it comes to best bets. So pushes are not losses, but they are not wins. And Carl, I thought, I was so angry I didn't get to take the Vikings in the points. He saved me from that, but I still lost. But Carl, Cowboys -1. He got the dub last week, which means on the season, Carl breaks the 3-way tie. Carl with 4 best bet wins, and Tommy and I both with 3. Tommy, we got to step it up. We got to. Carl can't win everything.
I'm working on it.
We gotta be better than that.
Who picks first this week?
Of course, it's you. It's Carl. So week 12 best bets. Carl, lead us off. Tell us what you're going to take.
All right. This is a little bit of a homer bet, but I'm going to ride my streak against betting against Kirk Cousins. So we're going Patriots plus the points, even money line, because it is what it is. Primetime Kirk. Can't trust it. Patriots is my pick. Put it up here.
Love it.
Actually, I think we're on this side. What side are they on? This side?
I don't know.
I forget that we record in like a mirror.
Right? Seriously.
I don't know what side it's on.
Just point both ways. Right here.
It'll be on one of them.
So right here, I'm going to take the LA Chargers. I don't normally do this. I circled it when I guessed the lines. I liked it better when it was Chargers by 2.5, of course, but 4.5 is where it's supposed to be. I just don't feel good about the Cardinals anymore. So give me the Chargers, LA Chargers, laying 4.5 points on the road. The more I talk, the less I like it. So give me the graphic. Let's move on. Tommy, all you.
Yeah, so I thought that my first choice was going to get taken. So I originally had like the Colts penciled in just to double down on the island and go for it. But since my game wasn't taken, I'm going to take the Seahawks here over the Raiders at -3.5. It seems like a layup. seems like a layup, and I feel like I've taken layups the past few weeks, and I've it's done me bad. So here's to hoping to reverse the curse here, because we all chose the Seahawks. But at least this way, if I lose my best bet, it's a loss for everybody.
Yeah, I like that. Good logic. We can all go down.
That might have been
With
the best
this shit.
3 picks we've had.
Yeah, I think we're all in agreement on all of these, except
Yes.
I bet the Vikings, but I put like Pats plus 2.5. That's fine. Yeah. All right. So just to recap, Carl likes the Patriots Thursday night, against primetime Kirk on Thanksgiving. Pats getting plus 2.5 points. I'm going to take the Chargers on the road against the Cardinals. They are laying 4.5 points. And Tommy is taking the Seahawks at home against the lowly Las Vegas Raiders. They are giving up 3.5 points. The Seahawks are. And those are your best bets of the week for week 12. Great. Well,
You know what
That
time it
means-
is.
you know what time it is. So DJ, hit that track. We got to start dancing. Tommy, talk to me, baby.
Came to drink, turning up and party. We came to drink, turning up and party. Somebody say, hey, we wanna party. Hey, we wanna party. Somebody say, hey, we wanna party. Hey, we wanna party.
Well, I happened to throw in a second one here, a second 10-point teaser. This one's for Sunday in case things go horribly awry on Thursday. So we have the Miami Dolphins getting 10 points, which means I have to check the updated lines here. The Dolphins were 13.5 point favorites. Is that correct? That is insane. So getting 10 points, they would now be favored by 3.5. Math. That's how that works. The San Francisco 49ers were laying 9.5 points, which means if we're giving them 10, they're now favored by a half point. Basically, they just have to win. And the Chiefs, who are giving 14.5 points, you bring them all the way down to minus 4.5. That's minus 120 odds once again. So another 3-team 10-point teaser. And I'll just give you this really quickly. If you like all of those, you can adjust it. DraftKings wouldn't let me do this. Your book might. DraftKings likes to do those 10-point teasers. Other places kind of depends on the book, right? But when I added 6 teams together, when I combined my Thursday and my Sunday, I could only do a 7-point tease. So that means the Miami Dolphins go from 13.5 down to 6.5. The 49ers go from 9.5 down to 2.5. The Chiefs go from 14.5 down to 7.5. The Bills go from 10 to 3. The Giants go up from 9.5 to 16.5. And the Patriots go from plus 2.5 up to plus 9.5. Those 6 teams, if you tease them, gives you plus 450 odds. Carl, Tommy, what do we think?
I'm here for it. You know,
I really
I'm
like
always here
that.
for it.
We all like the Chiefs. We like them at that big number. Why not bring it down a little bit, right? Make it a little bit safer.
Bingo, bango.
Great. Amazing. I love that. I hope we all win a lot of money this week. I hope we all can enjoy.
Leave us a comment, and if you're watching on YouTube, comment your favorite Thanksgiving dishes. If you're listening on podcasts, give us a 5-star review, and in your review, give us your Thanksgiving meals.
Brilliant. Tommy, brilliant. Good job by you.
Amazing.
Thanks.
Take us home.